Health is attained by choice, not chance. The most successful people we ever meet have a mindset of choice. They choose the experiences they have to have. And I have on today one of the most incredible people, 3-time reigning champ, the current Miss Olympia, owner of 5 businesses, mother of 2 incredible boys. Welcome to the Abundant Mind, Whitney Jones. Happy to have you on today.
Hi, how are you? I'm loving that I'm a guest and honored to be here. So thank you for having me.
You know, so many people have gone through so many trials and tribulations. And one thing I would love to really just dive on in here today, you know, as someone that we look up to, as someone that we follow as an inspiration. I mean, you're doing so much for not only the community and health, but for women, the empowerment that you're able to give. I find a lot of people that they allow their circumstances to dictate their choices. They allow their circumstances to dictate, and it's that scarcity, more of a victim mentality.
Sure.
You've been through a whole lot in your life. What is it that you would attribute your success to, being the current reigning Miss Olympia of the planet? What would be one of those things that you said? Because on one of your last performances, you were dancing with a busted leg. You had a busted part of your spine, and yet to watch that and to see what you did and your mind over matter, where instead of shrinking away, you jumped. What is the mindset and the thought process that had to go to get you to that point?
Well, it's so cliche to say that your mind is so powerful, but it literally is. And I learned that just through experiences in my life where, you're kind of dealt these obstacles and you can choose. It's 100% up to you to choose how you're going to deal with it. You can't control what happened in almost every situation, but you absolutely control how you handle it and what you do with that. So every situation I've been in, it's always taught me some valuable lessons. And there's just being able to find the gold in horrible situations, horrible experiences is what helps you level up as a person. And I've always just had this mentality of not ever wanting to live a mediocre life and knowing that we have one life to live and never wanting to look back and have regret or the woulda, shoulda, coulda mentality. It's like everyone has stuff happen to them. Everyone goes through obstacles. But what's more inspiring is those who overcome it and not just survive, but truly thrive. I always wanted to make an impact. I wanted to inspire. I wanted to motivate. And as a mom, a single mom of 2 boys, it's kind of up to me to go, what example am I setting? Am I going to be a positive role model? Am I going to push them to always go after their dreams and never give up? Well, you got to walk the walk and talk the talk. So that's kind of the way it's just been. And then finding people out there who were inspired by my story or inspired by my ability to just not give up propels me to want to do it more and share my stories. It's hard when you are sharing stories that are very, near and dear to your heart, or you went through troubled times. And it's like, again, people resonate with that because everyone's experiencing something. Behind a smile, there could be some devastating things. Well, guess what? If you have tolerance and you take the time to get to know someone, get to know their story, you're going to learn something by it. You're probably going to be inspired or motivated. Most likely, somehow it will resonate to you if you keep that open mind. So it's just always kind of propelled me to keep pushing, to achieve. And in reality, there's always a way. I don't care what anyone says. There is always a way. You just have to believe it. You got to have the self-confidence. You got to block out the noise. And yeah, like you said, my most recent Olympia performance, I broke my leg 3 days before the competition.
Insane.
And, as you know, like for people, maybe your listeners, if they don't know, I'm in the fitness world. What I do is not getting on stage and flexing and everyone thinks, a bodybuilding competition. Yes, right. It's in the bodybuilding realm. But I'm a fitness competitor, meaning I'm judged on, yes, you have to have a good physique. You got to be in shape. But my category is totally judged on a 2-minute fitness routine. So you got to go out there and do gymnastics, dance, plyometric, push-ups, strength moves. It's all about entertainment. And yes, of course, we have the round where they judge our physique, but it's more kind of like a a beauty pageant with muscles, for lack of a better explanation. But yeah, I had to perform a 2-minute routine with a broken leg because I'm like, I'm not giving up. I have trained so hard for months for this moment. I wanted to appreciate it. I didn't know how it would turn out, but there's a lot you can do with one leg.
Wow. You brought on some incredible mindset gems to this already. Number one, I love that you are authentic to who you are. You're
Mhm.
authentic to you.
Yeah.
You said, here's what I want. So many people in life, if we can get to understand our why, like why do
Yeah.
I do what I do, and hold to yourself to that holy cause is important. But so many of us are aimless because we spend more time planning a vacation than we do our life. We do our
Yeah.
business, we do our family. And we struggle with defining what we want. And I love that you are authentic and that you said, well, here's what I really want. So you had to put not only the time in, but you had to put in the right mentors and coaches and people around you to make that happen. I love that you recognize that. And I love that you are authentic to who you are. When you and I first met, we met with, Steve Sims was in the room, Joe Polish in the room, some of the, the most affluent, influential people in the world are in that room. And I love that you showed up. Everyone's like, dang, because this lady's incredible. And you said, hang on, I want to be sure I don't have Oreo in my teeth. And all of
Yes.
us are like, I thought, oh, she's joking. This is like Miss Olympia. She's never touched an Oreo. And I love that you said, I give myself the ability to be human. I
Yes.
work hard. I work harder than pretty much anyone out there with your mindset, with your body. But you also have a couple of vices that you enjoy. So you got the
Yes.
Oreos. What's your other one, Whitney? What's the other one that you indulge in?
Always, it's Oreos and donuts. Those are my two. And people think, like you said, no way, you're in such great shape. How do you do that? Everything is in moderation.
Yes.
And obviously, I do have Oreos and donuts every day. I literally do. Even when I am show day, my body is now fueled by it. And I couldn't do that forever. So, people are like, oh, I'm going to get in shape by eating Oreos and donuts. I've had to work to get my metabolism to that point. But
Yes.
again, it's like, it was something I wanted. I wanted to have flexibility with what I ate. So I put in the time to really train my body consistently with proper nutrition, eating great in a way that my metabolism could then be at a level where I can have, again, I can keep it in check. I don't eat an entire bag of Oreos and I don't usually have both, but I like to have my little splurges and it doesn't affect my body because everything in moderation.
That concept is so important because so many of us, like if someone were to literally show up and say, hey, we want to do an interview with you and you're at the grocery store, somebody like, wow, my hair's not done, my face, you're like, boom, let's do this. Can I impact somebody? Can I change a life? Boom, hit me. Because you are who you are, no matter where you are. So
Right.
many of us we live that Instagram lifestyle where
Yeah.
if it's not picture perfect, if I don't have the filter, but no, you are more than enough of who you are. And there are enough incredible people out there. I mean, you coach and inspire millions. And we're getting to the point where you're hitting that billions mark. That's incredible. You show up who you are and you hone your craft. What does it take to go from ordinary to extraordinary? What is that extra something that you found in your life to get you to 3 times Miss Olympia? What's that little something in your mindset and in your daily routine that allows you to accomplish that and to get there?
Honestly, it's appreciating what you have, honoring that. It's
Wow.
it's the mentality of realizing I don't have to, I get to. And it's
Yes.
power in those words. Like literally, if you're having a bad day, there is always something worse. There is always people who are in way worse situations than you are. And if you can't take that opportunity to recognize and appreciate what you have in front of you versus focusing on what you don't have. And it goes back to, again, with some of these injuries. Yeah, I had these injuries, but I'm still there. I'm at the show, like with my broken leg. It happened. I was at the event. You got to go a week earlier. It's all this media, this press, the meet that, like all these things you have to do. So it happened while I was there. And it's like, well, this kind of is a bummer, but I still have the ability to do so many other tricks. I need to fake it till I can make it with like getting on stage and pretending I don't have a broken leg. but I had that choice and I knew I could do it. And I was appreciative of the fact that I could do it. And then I knew that there's going to be a pretty cool story at the end of this, whether I won or not. It didn't matter. I showed up. I was excited for that opportunity. And I was just thrilled to literally be able to go, okay, don't focus on the broken leg. Don't focus on what I can't control. Focus on what I can control. Yes. And there's so much power in that. So many people in this day and age live in that world of envy and jealousy and just, why don't I have this, entitlement? No, if you could take a step back and go, wow, like I'm pretty lucky. I've got my health. I've got the ability to have the brain power to make amazing decisions. I have the ability to smile and cheer someone up. It's all those things that really have always propelled me for years in this industry as an athlete, but also as someone who is running businesses. And then more importantly, as a mom. So it's just that mindset of going, I need to have gratitude every day for the great things in my life. And then also looking at anything that's kind of causing me stress or trouble, either push it away, remove yourself from it, or change it. Because again, we have all these choices in our life. And it may not be a process where you can get rid of negativity or stress immediately, but make that choice, because being able to live a happy life, a fulfilled life, something where each morning you get up and you're excited for the day, it's in everyone's control. Whether you act on it is up to you.
You know, you lived and you taught some pretty important principles right there. You know, that instead of using the words in the vernacular, I have to get up today, I have to go to work, but I get to, is there a shift that happened in your life? Where have you always had that, number one? And if you had to cultivate or learn that, was there a moment where where it clicked through, I get to do this today? Because you said to appreciate life, to be grateful for what you have. Is there a moment or an experience that allowed you that really hones that in for you that could help inspire our listeners?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like growing up, I did high school, college, you're going to graduate, you get a real job, you get married, you have kids, like, that's kind of what society says you do, right? So I was doing it and things weren't bad, but I felt like I needed to make a mark in this world. I needed to do something that made me proud, made me happy. And I literally just felt like I was kind of living a mediocre life. And I thought, no, I don't want this. I want to do something big. I want to, be able to inspire my kids. At that point, there were 2 little boys. And I just thought, what can I do that's amazing? So I just started kind of downloading my brain, like what would be so cool to achieve in life? I wanted to own a business. Okay, why am I not going after that? At that point, I was working in the corporate world, doing what I thought I was supposed to be. And I started realizing I'm not living the life for me. I'm living the life for others and for the expectations of others. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because it helped guide me. But at what point do I start living my life? Yes. And making my own decisions? And I had support, obviously from family, friends to just, why not? You take small steps, you do it. And then it was like, there was so much power in that, power and accomplishment that I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm living my life for me. Now, it's funny because I've had some people say, well, yeah, if I had a choice, I'd go sit at the bar all day, every day. And I'm like, well, I mean, you could do that, but you have to go, what is the end game? How is that positively impacting your life? And not just selfishly focusing on that, but how's that impacting others? There's no good in that, right? So you've got to make sure you're living the life for you without doing the things that could be harmful, like going out and murdering your neighbor. That's one way. You don't want to get rid of that kind of stress. Just move, So you got to live the life for you to make you happy, to feel this sense of accomplishment, but you got to have the right kind of morals and ethics and values aligning that. But honestly, it was just wanting to kind of do great things and putting your goals out there that are so big that people think that's crazy. And that's when I felt I'm onto something, because the fact that they're doubting me, I want to prove them wrong. And then you start doing things and people start supporting it. And it's like, wow. But that own sense of accomplishment is kind of what has just been my driver for so many of my adult years.
I want to dissect that a little bit because, a lot of times people get golden handcuffs. They get into the corporate world and they say, gosh, I got two boys now and I'm a single mama and gosh, what if? And we start going to that scarcity mentality. We start
Yeah.
going into that place where we don't want to be. So we need to be able to have systems and rituals that allow us to determine, are we on track? Because so many people get stuck in that rut, and then they can find fulfillment. They can say, I don't necessarily like this, so how can I change my mindset so that I want to like this and want to enjoy this? So having those systems in place is so critical, and knowing your potential and that you can destroy and live what most people thought was just a dream. You live that every single day.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's exciting. It's like people ask me, what's next? And I'm like, I don't know. I've got all these different ideas, all these different opportunities. What do I want to really focus on and hone in on? Obviously, being a mom is my greatest pride and joy. That's never leaving because, that's the best job I could ever have. But, whether it's opening up different businesses, maybe shutting down one, maybe it's taking, I can't compete forever. What am I going to do in the sport? Because I still love it. There's so many different things, but you have to literally sit in your own space and in silence sometimes and brainstorm. Download everything that you think would be the coolest if you had no limitations. And then you can start realizing, okay, how can I break down the current limitations in my life? Again, opening up my business. It's a great example. I had always wanted to, I just never really knew what I wanted to do. And I wanted to have that spark, but it was a goal I set. So I started saving money literally when I was in high school and going one day. Now, granted, if my path changed and I decided not to, I have this chunk of money that I could do something with. But then I started realizing my first business I wanted to open was a gym. I needed to make sure I saved enough money. I put together a business plan. I had a strategy. It didn't happen overnight, but I outlined it and went, okay, I want to achieve that. What do I need to do in order to achieve it? So you can't just say, oh, I want to open up a business. Have you done your research? Do you have knowledge in the industry? Can you financially support it? Because you're not going to get a paycheck for the first little bit with most businesses. How am I going to market it? How am I going to get customers? How am I going to hire employees? So it's this process. But again, people like, you're just going to open up a business? Well, no, I'm not going to just open it up. It's a gradual process. But You need to identify what it is. And then you need to address each limitation that prevents you from doing it right at that moment. Because eventually you're going to get there as soon as you address each of these issues or problems or things that are in the way. That's how you overcome any obstacle.
Yes, and you talked a lot about, it's just so critical about knowing our what. What do you really want, and what does that look like in clear, concise, precise terms? You talk about your why, your motivation. So a lot of people, as they're wanting to get to that next level, they say, gosh, here's what I want, and your imagination is a 3D printing process. And you have the ability to literally, the moment you can imagine it, visualize it and put it into words, and then you start mapping it out. But like you said, a lot of times we get an idea that we think we could monetize, but it doesn't light us up. So being able to find something that lights you up and then researching all the ins and outs. So that's the what. Now, a lot of us, and here's what a lot of people struggle with, is the who. Mm-hmm. Who was your who during all of this? Who was your who helped you to get, the gyms open and to be able to, become the current Miss Olympia? Who were some of your coaches and your mentors and some of the things you were feeding your mind and your heart and your body with?
Honestly, it's I don't think people realize their current network of people are pretty powerful if you tap into it.
Yes.
So my mom, by all means, she was a huge driver and motivation in it because she just had the never give up mentality. And then in, going through college, I met certain individuals, professors that I honed in on their drive or their success. Then obviously meeting people just around business owners, small business owners, and asking them questions. What were some of the struggles you experienced when you first opened up your business? Then I had friends who did the same thing. So you can tap your own personal network. One of the best bits of advice that I found was you don't have to do everything. Like that's that kind of entrepreneurial mindset is, oh gosh, I've got to be everything. You got to wear all the hats. You do to a certain
Yes.
extent, but you've got to recognize where your downfalls are. Where do you need to really use your resources to hire the people to help you? And so many times people are like, I got to do all this research. I've got to do all these tasks. No, you need to identify where you need help and then hire that person to be
Yes.
your support and help you obtain whatever it is you're trying to do. So with
Yes.
business, that's what it was. With coaching, as an athlete, trying to go, okay, I need someone to help do my music. I can't put together the routine without good music, but that's not my background. So I needed to hire someone who has experience in music, can splice together my music. Costume designer, same thing. Worked with a trainer to help kind of get my body in the best shape that it needed to be, because as my own trainer, it's different. I needed this different set of eyes.
Yes.
So you just have to identify what it is you need help with, because you're going to be way more efficient if you're not trying to do everything yourself. So
That's critical. So
yeah,
critical. There are people who nerd out with stats. There are people who nerd out with taxes. Put the best people who are unicorns, as Steve Sim teaches, the people who are the absolute best and that what lights them up, get them on board so that you can focus on the things that light you up and that bring you in money.
mm-hmm.
Focus on those things. It's that 80-20 rule, right? 20% of what we do makes us everything. So why not focus on that 20% and bring in the other people? That's critical to make your dream happen. But a lot of times we get stuck. We can only grow linearly. Jay Abraham teaches, linear growth happens by yourself. Exponential growth happens when you bring on the right people who are the best at what they do, and you're able to divert that money and those funds to only allow you to get there faster. And man, you've mastered that. To see, we see you as current Miss Olympia. We see you because it all, when it all comes down to it, everyone were supports. They were helpful. They helped you achieve knowledge that you possibly didn't have, but it all had to come from you. But also your humbleness in your greatness, to know that it does take a team in order to be the best.
Absolutely. And I think people forget that there's so many individuals out there wanting to help, and you just have to ask. You just have to have the courage to ask. So even if it's like, okay, I don't have the financial resources to hire this person, well, then utilize them for the knowledge so you can educate yourself from someone who's super experienced. Ask to take them to dinner or coffee or whatnot. You'd be surprised when you have that ability to ask what you'll get in return. Now, if the person says absolutely not, I don't have time, you got to pay me to do it, fine. You're back to square one. But if you don't have that courage to just kind of reach out and be like, can I pick your brain for a little bit? Great. You may have just hired for free the most knowledgeable person that allows you to go, oh my gosh, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that? That was what was stalling me from doing XYZ. So have the courage to ask for help, because you might be surprised how many people are willing to help.
So this is a prime example, if I may. I mean, I'm humbled to be able to talk to you, to see what you've accomplished and the impact and the transformation you're putting and making in so many people's lives. And when we first met, I literally called my wife and I said, we have to have her on the show. There are so many people, there's so many women, there's so many individuals who need what she has. And I said, I'm going to ask. And
Yeah.
the worst thing she could say is, hey, hey, call me in a year. First thing he said, absolutely. Who's my audience? How can I help them? How can I create a greater impact? How can I serve? Because it took a lot of people to get me where I am, and you wanted to give back. The only way to move forward in life is giving back. And you live that every day while also eating Oreos and donuts. I love that. That's awesome. Too many people get burned out. If you're not doing things that bring you joy, we all have little pleasures that we do, focus on the things. If it's not, in moderation, there are a lot of things that can help, that can give you reprieve and invigorate you. There's times where you need to shut off completely, but all in moderation. And I appreciate you teaching that concept today and for living that example, to the single parent out there who is where you were.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to be able to take them by the hand and have, 2 minutes to give them some counsel, what would you give them knowing everything that you know now? What do you say to that single parent who is who wants to be where you are? What do you give them?
It's easy to stay in that struggle mentality because it is, and single parents easily can resonate, but that it doesn't apply just to single parents.
Yes.
Again, we get so overwhelmed with so much on our plate, especially when you have a household to run, you've got kids, you're trying to make sure everything's on the best it can be with your spouse, like all these things, but you forget about yourself and your own happiness reflects everything. So if you're buried in life or you're just kind of struggling, take at least 10 minutes every day to focus on you. And it could just be sitting in silence. It may require you to get up earlier before the kids get up or before work starts beating you up, but you've got to focus on yourself, because when you lose sight of yourself, it absolutely impacts who you are to your family, to your kids, to your spouse, to your coworkers, in every aspect of your life. But then being able to go, okay, I need to do something for me. 10 minutes a day can propel you to then start going, what do I want to do? What will make me happy? Because again, you've got so many things to do, but if it's a matter of, okay, I want to start getting in shape, I want to eat better, well, then get to the gym, do that, start a new regimen with eating healthy. Maybe identify what it is. Maybe it's just going for a walk. Maybe it's getting your nails done. It doesn't matter, but it's going to make you happy. And then you start realizing, wow, okay, I'm a changed person. I'm happier. Your life gets easier because you're not so focused on the mundane craziness and how hard life is. You're now enjoying little moments every single day that brings you a smile, and it has so much power in it.
Yes. It is not selfish to put love and attention into yourself, because you can't give what you don't have. You can't be healthy by
Yep.
being sick. You can't give someone wealth by being poor. You have to have in order to give out of your own abundance. Thank you so much for that, because that is true counsel. And you start small. You start simple.
Yes. You
Start
have
start start
to.
with 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Put your gym shoes on. Go for that simple walk. Look at that strategy, but you have to plan it out. And that is where success comes into place. And surrounding yourself with the right people and the mindset who are going to propel you towards greatness is where and how you've ended up where you are today. So, man, we are rooting for you, Whitney. For people who would love to follow you and your continued journey and where you are as a power mama, as a business owner, as Miss Olympia, where do we go to follow you and to support you?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, I would love, I mean, honestly, anyone who would love help, inspiration, reach out to me. I love connection. So you can find me. My website is fitwitjones.com. You can also email me at fitwitjones@gmail.com. And then social media, I'm on Instagram. I'm goofy and do shenanigans and
Authentic.
still see some crazy fun stuff if you like to be entertained. And that's Whitney Jones _ IFBB Pro.
So have a vision. The bigger the vision, the greater your life will be. Have a vision greater. And I want you to leave you guys with this last thought. How cool is it to be? I remember having Michael Jordan on my wall slam dunking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And seeing people taking pictures, famous people taking pictures of Michael Jordan. One of my favorite pictures of you is seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger doing a selfie with you on
Yeah.
stage to
Yeah.
say, look at this lady. I mean, look how cool this is.
Yeah.
And that is an end product of everything that we just spoke about: the relationships, the tools, the systems, the mindset, the people, the strategies, the why, the what, the how, the who. Put this into place. Start with yourself first. Start with loving yourself. Start with being grateful, like you taught, for the things around you, being thankful and recognizing the good you already have, and multiply that by nurturing it with love and attention, and you will get the dreams that you want. We are rooting for you. We're grateful for you. We support you and your vision and your mission, and we can't wait to see how the world continues to be transformed through you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.